Let me check till which month we have completed. So I'll share my screen. So this is not my company code. I'll change my company code first. So I think we completed till September month. Now we will start off with October month. Okay. So in the October month, what is the first transaction? Mr. Verma received rupees 50,000 by check as consulting revenue from Exceed International Couriers. So like this, we have passed many entries. Since it is a receipt voucher, we are receiving in the form of check, then it will be HDFC bank account debit to consulting revenue. So let me apply the voucher first. I'll go back and go to vouchers here. I change the date here. I'll make it as 1st October 2024. Enter. Now here it should be receipt voucher. So I'll apply the voucher first. F6, credit your consulting revenue account. So we have already created consulting revenue. What is the amount there? 50,000. So I'll give here 50,000. Consulting revenue 50,000 and debit your cash account or bank account. It is bank account. It is in the form of check. So it will be HDFC Bank 50,000. Then accept this. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid office rent by check. So office rent, it is fixed, that is 2,500. So let me apply the payment voucher first and debit your office rent expense. How much is the amount? 2,500. Enter, and it is in the form of check. So it will be HDFC bank account and accept this. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma withdrew rupees 30,000 cash from HDFC bank. It is not saying that it is for personal use. So we need to apply the contra voucher. Withdrew rupees 30,000 cash. So cash will be debited and HDFC bank will be credited. So apply the contra voucher here and credit here HDFC bank. What is the amount there? 30,000. Enter, 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 enter. Cash is 30,000. Accept it. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid salary by check. So it is through check and salary is fixed, which we have already recorded. It is 12,000, right? If I'm not wrong. 12,000, yes. So I'll apply the voucher of payment here and debit your salary expense. What is the amount there? 12,000. Enter. Shubham is 7,500 and Geeta is 4,500. Enter, enter, and it is in the form of check. So HDFC bank account will be credited. Accept this. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid rupees 750 in cash towards office maintenance expense. So office maintenance will be debited and cash will be credited. And the cash is 750. So here Mr. Verma paid rupees 750 in cash towards office maintenance. So apply the payment voucher. I'll debit your office maintenance expense 750, enter in the form of cash, credit your cash account and accept it. Now, next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma purchased stationery item worth rupees 1600 and it is in the form of cash. So apply the payment voucher. Payment voucher is already applied. Stationery expense and what is the amount there? 1600. Enter. Since we have applied cost center for salary, so even for the stationery also it is applied. So I'll go back and I'll edit the ledger. Go to alter. Go to ledger and which account we want to edit stationery expense. And here it is given as cost center applicable. Yes. So I'll make it as no and I'll accept this. Then go back, again go to vouchers. Now here payment voucher is applied, stationery expense 1600, enter, amount is cash. So 1600 and accept it. Now next, what is the transaction? Mr. Wormer received rupees 15,000 in cash as consulting revenue from Samaritan Products. So this is also a receipt voucher and it is received in the form of cash. So cash will be debited, consulting revenue will be credited. So I'll apply the receipt voucher here, credit consulting revenue. And what is the amount there? Amount is 15,000, enter, and we are receiving the form of cash. So cash will be debited, 15,000. Yes. Accept this one. Now, next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid rupees 7,700 in cash towards electricity charges. So we will apply payment voucher here, F5, and they are paying electricity charge, right? So electricity expense will be debited with the amount of 1700 and cash will be credited here and accept this one. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid rupees 2300 by check towards mobile phone bill charges. So here also payment voucher and it is mobile phone bill charges. And what is the amount there? Amount is 2300. Enter. It is in the form of check. So it will be HDFC bank account and accept this one. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma introduced further capital into the firm by bringing in cash of rupees 1 lakh. Okay. So here cash will be debited and Arpit Kumar will be credited. So that is here we are receiving. Cash will be debited and Arpit Kumar Verma will be, here we have already created Arpit Kumar, will be credited and with the amount of 1 lakh, enter and cash will be debited, automatically it is debited, accept it. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma deposit cash amounting to rupees 75,000 in HDFC Bank. So here also contra voucher, but here HDFC Bank will be debited and cash will be credited. So 75,000. I'll apply the voucher here. Cash will be credited here with the amount of 75,000 and HDFC Bank will be debited and accept. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma reimbursed conveyance bills amounting to rupees 1600 in cash. So conveyance bills. Apply the payment voucher. Conveyance bills will be debited with the amount of 1600. Enter and it is in the form of cash. So cash will be credited. Let me check. Yes. Accept this one. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma entered into a contract with Planet Consultancy Service at an agreed price of 35,000. An advance of rupees 10,000 was received by check. Any advance you're receiving, I told you need not treat it as direct income. Since just it is received as advance, it might be in the future case where due to some reasons they might ask for the refund also. For that, if you use this as your direct income, what will happen? You will use some or the other way, right? That money you will be using for some or the other expenses. That time you cannot, it will be difficult for you to refund. That is why whatever advance we get until the final settlement, it is treated as advance only. That is why we created advance consulting revenue. Now here we are receiving but it is in the form of advance only. So first we will apply the voucher of receipt here, and we will credit here advance consulting revenue with the amount of 10,000. Enter, and HDFC Bank will be debited with the amount of 10,000 and accept it. That's it. So I think October month is done. Let me cross verify with the balance sheet. So I'll go back here. Balance sheet, you can see here 5,86,500, 5,86,500, and cash in hand is 2,65,800. Correct. Exactly. We got the same balance, and even trial balance also will be correct only. If you want, you can cross verify. So you can see here 7,73,100. Yes, that's it. Now we are going to do for the month of October is done, right? We will do for the month of November. So November, I think slight variation you have where it will be refunded. So that is why we are going to do. Quickly, we will start off with November month. First transaction is Mr. Verma withdrew rupees 8,000 cash for personal use. Whenever it is for personal use, it is a payment voucher. So let me change the date first. F2 1/11/2024. Enter. Here, apply the voucher first, that is payment voucher. So debit your withdrawal account. What is the amount there? I think 8,000, right? Yes, 8,000. Enter, and it is in the form of check. So HDFC Bank will be credited here with the amount of 8,000. Accept it. Now, what is the next transaction? Mr. Verma received an invoice for rupees 7,200 from Raj Travels. This is also new transaction. This includes rupees 2,800 for cab hiring charges and 4,400 towards outstation tools. So here, whenever you're getting invoice or received an invoice, raised an invoice, then that's nothing but journal voucher, as I have already informed you. So apply the journal voucher first. Let me apply the journal voucher. Cab hiring charges will be debited with the amount of, what is the amount? I guess 2,800. Enter, and again debit your outstation tools. That is with the amount of, I guess, okay, 4,400. Enter, and credit your Raj Travels. This is a new transaction, new reference only. We don't have it. We had previous transactions also, but here it is not saying that we have paid or right. So that is why this will be new transaction. Raj Travels amount is 7,200. Enter here. Since it is a new reference, I'll record it under new reference, new transaction. Enter, 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 and accept this one. Now, next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid salaries by check. So, here also 12,000 is paid. Apply the payment voucher first, and here salary expense will be debited with the amount of 12,000. Enter. Shubham is 7,500. Enter. Geeta is 4,500. Enter, enter. And HDFC Bank, right? It is in the form of check. So, HDFC Bank will be credited, and I'll accept this. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid rupees 750 in cash towards office maintenance charge. So office maintenance expense will be debited with the amount of 750. Enter, and it is in the form of cash. So cash will be credited, and accept this. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma received rupees 27,500 by check as consulting revenue from Trishul Software Solutions. Okay. So previously we had transactions also related to Trishul Software. So now here what we will do? We will adjust this one. Okay. Mr. Verma received rupees 27,500 by check as consulting revenue. So it is in the form of consulting revenue. HDFC Bank will be debited and consulting revenue will be credited. So here, let me apply the voucher, that is receipt voucher, and credit here consulting revenue. It is in the form of consulting revenue 27,500. Enter, and it is received in the form of HDFC Bank, not that is nothing but in the form of check. So HDFC Bank will be debited and accept this one. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid office rent by check. So apply the payment voucher, office rent expense 2,500. Enter, it is in the form of HDFC Bank. So accept it. Next, what is the transaction? Okay, Planet Consultancy terminated their contract. Okay, we had previously where I think in the month of October itself, Planet Consultancy terminated their contract and the advance of rupees 10,000 was refunded to them by check. So this one, how to treat, that is what we are going to learn here. Okay. In the transaction number 84, if you remember in the number 84, what we have done, there we have applied the voucher of receipt because there it was saying that we received advance in the form of it is with the amount of 10,000, right? We received advance. So HDFC Bank was debited there and advance consulting revenue was credited there. Now what we have to do, since we are refunding there, that entry need to be adjusted. Their advance consulting revenue was credited. Here advance consulting revenue will be debited. So advance consulting revenue will be debited and there HDFC was debited, here HDFC will be credited. So that the entry will be left. In sense, it will be adjusted along with that entry, with the previous entry. So here, this is payment. Okay, it will be treated as payment only. Now here, we have to debit advance consulting revenue so that it will be adjusted, that 10,000 will be adjusted. Enter credit here HDFC Bank. There it was debited in the number 84, the 84th transaction, HDFC was debited. Now what we are doing, since we are refunding it, HDFC will be credited with the amount of 10,000. Then accept this. Now, next, what is the transaction? HDFC Bank intimated Mr. Verma that the check of Threshold Software Solutions for rupees 27,500 had bounced. Threshold Software Solutions was informed of this development and they promised to pay the amount in few days. So refer the transaction number 89. In 89th transaction, Mr. Verma received rupees 27,500 by check as consulting revenue. There it was already received in the bank. Now here bank intimated Mr. Verma that the check of Threshold Software of rupees 27,500 had been bounced. Now this one, how to treat? Let me give your notes. So we need to assume that if it is refunded, then the business didn't receive anything and need to adjust the entry. So we have to assume that service is provided on credit. So when if it was provided on credit, what is the journal entry? If we assume that it was provided on credit basis, then what is the journal entry? Here, Threshold Software will be debited to HDFC Bank when it was provided on credit basis, right? This was the entry when if you assume that it should be provided on credit basis. Since it is refunded, then the business didn't receive anything and need to adjust the entry. So we need to assume that the service is only provided on the credit basis. This is how we adjust the entry in Tally. Okay. So now here what happens when it was provided on credit basis? What is the journal entry? Threshold Software will be debited. HDFC Bank will be credited. But now here if you see, we already posted the entry in 84th transaction, right? In 84th entry. So what was the journal entry there we posted? We posted entry like HDFC Bank will be debited, right? And which account will be credited? There we credited consulting revenue, right? Advance consulting revenue something. In 84th transaction. If you refer the 84th transaction, there you can see what entry we have posted. That is HDFC Bank debited to advance consulting revenue. Now, what will happen here? If you want to adjust the entry, okay? Now I want to adjust the entry since the entry is already posted here. Advance consulting revenue is credited and HDFC Bank is debited here. Now we need to debit, we need to assume that it is provided on credit basis. So we have to debit threshold software and we have to credit HDFC Bank. Okay, that the entry will be adjusted. See, you can see the entry itself here. Threshold software account debit to HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank debit, already it is debited and advanced consulting revenue will be credited. Now, since it is debited and we have assumed that it is received, now we have to adjust with credit entry. This HDFC Bank will become credit entry. Threshold software will be debited. This is what we are going to post now. Okay. Threshold software account debit to HDFC Bank so that it will be refunded and it will be like, it will not be in the form of that we have received. It will be in the form of that it is provided on credit basis. So we have to apply the voucher first. Payment voucher also you can apply or journal voucher. We will use payment voucher here. We will use payment voucher. Threshold software is not created. So let me create here. So Sunday debtors. Accept. And what is the amount there? 27,500. Enter. It is new reference. Enter, 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 enter. And credit here HDFC Bank. 27,500. So HDFC Bank intimated Mr. Verma that the check of threshold software for rupees 27,500 had bounced. Threshold software solution was informed of this development and they promised to pay the amount in a few days. In sense, for future, we will also have transaction related to this where threshold software need to pay us. So that is why it will be recorded in new reference and later on then it will be adjusted. So here I have credited HDFC Bank, accept it. Now what is the next transaction here? Mr. Verma paid rupees 950 in cash towards electricity bill charges. So it is very simple. Let me apply the payment voucher here. Payment voucher is already applied. Electricity expense will be debited with the amount of, what is the amount there? Amount is 950, I guess. Let me cross verify. Yes, and it is in the form of cash. So cash will be credited and accepted. Now, what is the next transaction? Mr. Verma received rupees 12,500 in cash. Threshold software solutions, right? So here we need to adjust them. Cash account will be debited and threshold software will be credited. So receipt voucher, threshold software, how much they have paid us? 12,500. Enter, adjust the reference. Yes. Debit here, it is in the form of cash. So cash will be debited, 12,500 accepted. Now what is the next transaction? Mr. Verma paid rupees 1,470 by check towards mobile phone bill charges. So apply the payment voucher. Mobile phone bill expense. What is the amount there? Amount is 1,470. Enter. And HDFC Bank is credited here. Accept it. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma reinvest conveyance bills amounting to rupees 900 in cash. So here, conveyance bills, right? So conveyance bills will be debited with the amount of 900. Enter. It is in the form of cash. Accept it. What is the next transaction? Mr. Verma withdrew rupees 6,500 for cash for personal use. Whenever it is saying that it is in form of personal use, then it's nothing but it is a payment voucher. And withdrawal account will be debited with the amount of 6,500. Enter. HDFC Bank will be credited. Accept it. Now let me cross verify. I'll go back. Let's check. Daybook is okay. I'll check with balance sheet. So 5,79,30 is correct and 2,61,200 is cash balance. So somewhere we have missed with the cash balance entry. That is fine. Right now it doesn't matter. Like if cash is bank or cash is having some variation. If you want, you have to check first where it is debited and where it is credited. You can just go inside this also and check where it is debited. And if you want, also can cross verify. From the transactions where you have missed, it is in the form of cash or it is in the form of bank. Right now, it doesn't matter. But in the real time, cash balance and bank balance matters. So you can cross verify accordingly. Right now, I'll just go for the further month entry. Later on, we can check with this. Or if you want, you can also check. Since you can see here, balance sheet, what is my balance I got here? 2,75,700. But it is saying here it is 2,61,200. So somewhere I have entered the transactions wrongly. If you want, you can also check with the day book. So let me go and check with my day book. Go to day book here. I'll just extend this. You can see here. mm, Payment. Last two is journal and last third one is receipt. Okay. There's one more entry of receipt, I guess. Yeah, one more entry of receipt. Rest all is payment, right? So related to my voucher, it is correct only. Withdrawal cash. Okay, you can see here the first transaction itself, that 8,000 wala, right? That 8,001. See here it is cash account and I have entered as HDFC bank account. Let me see my question first, where I have missed it. You can see here the first transaction. Yes, it is cash, but I have entered there HDFC bank. So that is my mistake. So I have to edit this one. I'll go to daybook itself and here I'll make it as cash. I'll accept this. Now anywhere else I have missed, let me check. So I think everything is correct only. You can see here. Salary expenses HDFC, office maintenance is cash, and office rent expenses HDFC Bank, advanced consulting revenues HDFC, threshold software is where it is. Threshold software is, what is this entry? 27,500. Mm, So here you can cross verify with the transactions, whatever we have posted. And here you can see 27,500, it is a payment voucher, and there it is also received in the form of cash. So you can just cross verify. I'll just check my balance sheet now. So still, I think there is slight variation. Yes, here it is 2,61,200. There it is 2,67,700. I guess. Yes, 2,67,700. So it is with the bank and cash only. We have missed somewhere cash and bank only. Just go to day book. So that entry is already adjusted. Threshold software entry is already adjusted. Here it is debited, here it will be credited. And along with that, we also have electricity expense, right? Electricity expense is in the form of cash. Mobile phone expense in the form of HDFC Bank. And electricity and conveyance bill is in the form of cash. Withdrawal is, see, you can see here, there it is cash, here it is bank, 6,500, right? So let me check what is the transaction there. 6,500 related to 6,500. You can see here it is cash. Okay. But what I have done it as for HDFC Bank. So I'll just edit this one. It should be cash here, 6,500. I'll accept this one. So now you can see I have cross verified and it is 2,61,200 and 1,74,830. Now it is correct. Yes. Now it is correct. Yes. So like this, you can check whenever you got any wrong entry, just you can check slight variation you will have in the form of cash and bank. That's it. So now I'll go back. Now we will record for the month of December. I'll go to vouchers. Let me change the date. I'll apply it as 1/12/2024. Enter. What is the transaction? First transaction. The statement received from HDFC Bank shows that the bank has charged rupees 550 as check bouncing charges and 330 as checkbook charges. So you remember that entry which we passed in the month of November. Check bouncing charges are to be received from Threshold Software Solutions. Okay. Refer the transaction number 92. So there you remember that we refunded and the bank it also states that it's in the number 92. HDFC Bank intimated Mr. Verma that the check of Threshold Software for rupees 27,500 had bounced, and there is a bouncing charges also there, right? So here you can see. Now, what we have to do is the bank has charged rupees 550 as check bouncing charges and 330 as checkbook charges. Check bouncing charges will be recovered from Threshold Software later on, but right now from the bank it will be deducted, right? So how do we pass this entry? For that, bank charges account will be debited along with the 550 amount and 330, and then Threshold Software need to be debited with the amount of 550 to HDFC Bank. This is how we want to record the transaction, so that later on Threshold Software will be paying us and we will be adjusting the entry. When they are paying us, HDFC Bank account will be debited and Threshold Software will be credited. But right now they didn't pay. Threshold Software didn't pay. So Threshold Software will be debited with the amount of 550. Bank charges will be debited with the amount of 330 to HDFC Bank account. So here payment voucher already applied, and bank charges. I think we don't have bank charges. We need to create bank charges under indirect expense. What is the amount? 330. Enter. Debit here Threshold Software with the amount of 550. Enter. New reference. Since we have to adjust later on, we didn't receive anything. So new reference. Enter. Credit here HDFC Bank with the amount of 880. Automatically it will take. Right now it will be paid by us from the bank. It will be deducted, but in the future it will be recovered from Threshold Software. So that time what will happen? HDFC will be debited along with Threshold Software will be credited with the amount of 550. Right now I'll accept this one. Now, Mr. Verma paid office rent by check. Payment voucher, office rent expense 2,500. It is in the form of check. Then Mr. Verma paid salary by check. So salary expense 12,000. Enter. Shubham is 7,500 and Geeta is 4,500. It is the form of check, so HDFC Bank will be credited and accepted. Mr. Verma received an invoice from Raj Travels for rupees 6,200. This includes 3,000 towards cab hiring charges. This is also new reference right now. So apply the journal voucher, and here debit your cab hiring charges with the amount of 3,000. What is the amount there? 3,000 and 3,200. Outstation tools, it is 3,200. Enter. Raj Travels will be credited with the amount of 6,200. Enter. It is new reference. Enter, and accept. What is the next transaction? Mr. Verma received rupees 50,000 by check as consulting revenue. So receipt voucher, consulting revenue, amount is 50,000. Enter in the form of check. So HDFC Bank will be debited and accept it. What is the next transaction? Mr. Verma withdrew rupees 30,000 cash from HDFC Bank. So it is a contra voucher. HDFC will be credited with the amount of 30,000 and cash will be debited with the amount of 30,000. Accept it. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid rupees 750 in cash towards office maintenance charges. Apply the payment voucher here. Office maintenance expense. What is the amount there? 750. Enter. Cash will be credited. Accept it. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma purchased office equipment worth rupees 12,000 on credit from Transform Tech. So here it is purchased on the credit basis. The assets do not have any disposal value. That will be coming under depreciation and that we will be learning later on. Right now, Mr. Verma purchased office equipment. It is fixed asset. So it is on credit basis. Apply the journal voucher. Debit your office equipment. It is not created. Let me create here office equipment. What is the amount there? 12,000. It is received in the form of, from the credit, right? On the credit basis from Transform Tech. Transform Tech, we didn't create here. Sundry creditors. New reference. Accept. Mr. Verma, Mr. Verma paid rupees 1,450 by check towards mobile phone. Mobile phone expense account debit to what is the amount there? 1,450. Enter and HDFC Bank will be credited 1,450. Accepted. Mr. Verma paid rupees 850 in cash towards electricity charges. So electricity expenses, what need to be debited here? 850. Enter and what is it is in the form of cash. So it is cash here and 850. Accept it. Mr. Verma paid conveyance bills. So conveyance bill expense, what is the amount there? 1,100. Enter. It is in the form of cash. Cash will be credited and save it. Now, Mr. Verma paid rupees 12,000 by check. So, what was the previous entries we had in the number 105 also? It was on credit, now it is recovered and it is paid. So, for that, transform account debtor to HDFC Bank. Transform tech 12,000. Adjust the reference. Credit here HDFC. Accept it. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma raised an invoice for rupees 42,500 on improved designers for consultancy service. It is on credit, so it will be F7 journal voucher. And here improved designers will be debited since we are providing the service on credit basis. So create here improved designers. Sundry debtors. What is the amount there? 42,500. New reference and credit here consulting revenue. 42,500. Accept it. Next, Mr. Verma received 15,550 in cash from Trishul Software. So, receipt voucher, Trishul Software, in amount is 15,550. Adjust the reference. 550 is along with that bank charges which we had. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma withdrew rupees 6,000 cash for personal use. So, payment voucher, withdrawal account entered to. So, it is in the form of cash. Yes. So withdrawal account is 6,000, enter, it is in the form of cash, 6,000, then accept it. Next, what is the transaction? Mr. Verma paid rupees 7,500 by check towards professional charges. So professional charges, I think we don't have. Let me create under indirect expense. What's the amount there? 7,500. Enter. HDFC Bank. Accept. Now let me check it as my balance sheet. 6,30,950. Cash balance is 2,98,50. Correct. Bank balance is 1,58,500. Exactly correct. So till how many months we have done? Till December we have done. Tomorrow we will complete of January, February, and March. All 3 months entry. So tomorrow is Wednesday. We will complete of this month entry, and then on Thursday, I guess Thursday we will complete of depreciation, and Friday we will complete of provision entry. So after that we will start off with the new concepts. Import and export also we need to complete. So tomorrow 3 months entry will close.